So on this video, I want to show you exactly how you can configure the Neo4j MCP server. But before we get started, what is important is to understand a couple of things about the MCP servers and mostly about the Neo4j in case you are not familiar with that. Just a few words. First of all, what is an MCP server? MCP server means Model Context Protocol server, and this is a communication protocol launched from Claude Anthropic a few months ago, almost a year now. And in that way of communication, actually, the applications can talk to each other using the actual text as context. So we have involved the AI to translate our text into actual API calls. And this kind of server is responsible to execute these API calls. So if you're familiar with automations and API terms, this is the next level of building automation and communication. And MCP servers can be configured inside our Claude Desktop app, which means that if we go into this plus button, here we can see all the MCP servers we have installed. I have one from Zapier because I use a lot. I have my own demo one. I'm working on an Airtable. I have one for Front System and one for Puppeteer, which is for data scraping. And I want to add here today the one for Neo4j. And what is Neo4j and what is the purpose of having that? Neo4j is a platform that it let us build our knowledge graphs. And this is important if we want to build our own AI solutions using our own data, living in our own place. So we start talking mostly about the privacy. Neo4j is a platform that let us run on cloud and also into local devices. Okay, so we can achieve higher privacy. And how it works? We can create an instance, and let me start creating an instance. We don't have to go into a paid version. And I will name it 3 nuggets Alex Lab. Doesn't matter, you can have an actual space right here. Doesn't matter. And here it shows us a username and a password. Okay, this password is important. I would recommend to copy and save them somewhere in a safe place because this is the password we need to connect into your Neo4j account using the MCP tools later on. But they optimize this process so we can download this document right on our browser, and we see it's a TXT file that includes this information. And now, as soon as Neo4j is working, creating our instance, let me tell a couple of things about the knowledge graphs. Knowledge graphs are one way to store the data where, in a way we store them, we can show the relationships between our data. And this is very important. So you have a context to analyze, like an email conversation or a transcript, something like that, which is unstructured data, okay? And we want to analyze it and have a very well understanding of what was the context of this conversation and which are the relationships between different objects mentioned in this conversation. And let me be here with a real example. I have a conversation with a client. He came to me. He usually shares his challenge. She says that I tried 1, 2 things trying to solve my problem. Also, here is my problem, and I figured out that I cannot solve it. So I invited you to guide me. And during the session, I guide them exactly how to solve it, and we'll do it in live building. Taking the transcript of this conversation, which are the nodes mentioned? These are me, the other guy, his problem, the tools he's using, and the importance of his project, and every other area I want to cover. And all of these informations as dots into an empty Canva are related with each other. So for example, the client C works with Airtable or with Zapier or with Make or whatever it is. And since he's working on that, there is a line showing us this relationship. Now, where can I use it? Having the knowledge graph of context, I can use it as a knowledge base for my own AI models. So for example, I could build an AI chatbot that can have access into those information, those knowledge graphs, and he will be able to answer questions based on this information, which is pretty cool. And now we just see that the instance is active and running. The status here shows us what is the status of our instance. One comment about the instance: imagine instance as one virtual machine somehow, where we gonna create the knowledge graphs, the databases for us, right? That's all. Now, since we have an instance, it's ready, we have our codes. The next step is to open our Claude Desktop. I have my Claude Desktop, and I have to go into File and Settings. Then we click to Developer option, where we can see all MCP servers installed in here. I use a file system to manage my files. I have an Airtable one. I'm working as a demo. And as you can realize that with an every tool, it means that I run tons of tests building my own MCP server for Airtable. And then we have Puppeteer, who is responsible for data scraping. So what I have to do is I'm going to click Edit Config, where I have to edit this with cursor. It's the config.json file. I have to edit. And we see here the communications we have. I will have to paste here. There is right here. It shows us that plan because I have already copied into my clipboard this piece of code, and I will explain it what it means. Here is how our local machine will communicate with Neo4j MCP Server to follow the activities. But here we have to fulfill the Neo4j URI, the Neo4j username, which the default one is Neo4j, and the Neo4j password. Now the URI, we can take it from our instance. We click it here in the three dots, inspect, and we see here connection URI. We just copy that, return back to our Neo4j, and we save it. Neo4j and the password are those information we downloaded previously in our PC. And I'm gonna open this text file, and we can copy that. Now, for your security, guys, do not share these data to anyone. That's why I keep them hidden here. But anyway, of course, I'm gonna kill this instance and create a new one for my own use. And we put the code right here into the quotes. we don't see any broken line, but since we have the cursor, we can ask cursor to correct it for us, and that's perfect. I click save, and we're done. So I'm coming back, and I would expect to see here my MCP server, but the thing is that we have to restart our Claude Desktop. So I'm gonna close it. And for Windows users, we have to close our Claude Desktop from the task manager. We kill him. Yeah, he's gone. All right. And here we are. Oops. Wonderful. So if I go here, File, Settings, into the developer option, I see the Neo4j. He exists. All right. And here is what we can do. We can go and start it with a new chat. Right? I'm gonna tell him, hey, using your MCP tools, I want you to tell me what is the schema of my knowledge base. And look at what Claude will do. He is thinking now, and he creates a query. He will execute it. This is an API call talking to my instance, which is, by the way, is empty. You're gonna ask to get the results. Your Neo4j base is currently empty, no nodes, no relationships, no labels. Yeah, for sure. Perfect. And now I can feed from this chat information into my knowledge base and also ask him exactly how to add this information to my knowledge base. For those who have watched already the previous meetups sessions or other videos of me, what I prefer to do is to use Claude to analyze my unstructured context data, like my email, my transcripts, whatever it is. And I ask Claude to suggest me a scheme. Then I don't use it immediately. I just ask Claude to do improvements. I bring him questions to verify that in this schema, every AI model can understand exactly which are the relationships and the information into this knowledge base. And then I ask Claude to process the data into my knowledge base. So just here for an example, I'm going to ask him to tell the following. Dimitris is building digital things and knowledge bases using Neo4j, and he likes Claude Desktop. I'm mentioning the person, the services, the knowledge bases, the type of the service, and the tools, right? He is also good in as a developer consultant. Take this text and give me an analytical skill for knowledge base. So I expect him to read exactly this information and give me the suggested schema, note the data. And here are the data. Perfect. We see here the nodes, the entities, and the relationships. Let's say I like it. Like it. Want me to create this schema to your Neo4j database? Yes, please. And now what happens is that this chat communicates with my Neo4j right here. If I close that, and if I go into my Explorer, connect to an instance, let me connect it. All right. I'm going to query. We see here the node he creates live. He now processes two relationships. Now he creates the schema first, and he doesn't post inside the data. So we don't have anything here. Allowance. Nodes 4, relationships 3. Previously it was 0 and that was 5. And if we open these things here, what we see is every single request. He does it step by step. To be careful. Oh, here are property keys. These are tags. Wait him to complete. And that way, what is the good thing is that we can use just an interface of Claude to communicate with knowledge base, which used to be more technical stuff, and access that thing and enrich it and build something really, really valuable for our businesses or organizations, and let our the people into our organization to use this knowledge base. Right, let me see here. The graph will answer. Perfect. Let me show me the graph. And we see here the graph. And this is the knowledge graph that is created from a very tiny text we gave it. So we know that Dimitris uses a Neo4j. He likes Claude Desktop. He builds digital twins and he implements them using Neo4j. Also, Dimitris is building knowledge bases and implements them into Neo4j. Perfect. And Dimitris also has a skill as a Zapier consultant that relates with the tool Zapier. Very, very insightful. And as it says here, what technologies are used for digital twins, the graph will answer yes. This is an example. So having this information, this knowledge graph, our AI can answer any question related with that nodes and these relationships. So which are the real business cases where we can use the knowledge base to improve our organization and operations? At every step in our processes where we think what we should do now or what we can do now, we can use these knowledge bases. Very recent example that came to me was from a company that wanted to analyze the local laws and have a better understanding. So what we had to do was to feed the law into Claude, all right? And Claude had to create the knowledge graph. So the knowledge graph could give responses based exactly on this information from the knowledge base, which was quite a weird example because of the terminology and also the need to translate a couple of meanings into very, very simple words for the machine. It's not that the machine wasn't able to understand them. It was mostly that we want them to understand exactly like a lawyer. And the purpose of building this project in this business, it wasn't in order to replace a lawyer or an employee. The purpose was to use it just for auditing, for faster operations where we needed to contact the lawyer and stuff like that. We could have accurate results about our decisions, and that can help us make decisions. Now, the greatest level of building knowledge bases is in building digital twins, which is a clone of an object into our organization. And the object can be also a person. This object can help us to predict any weird situation. We can predict situations and simulate specific conditions for us. Very helpful. So that was it. This is how we can set up the MCP server using Claude Desktop for the Neo4j. Hope you like it, guys. If you use Neo4j, feel free to put me on the comments your experiences. If you're using an MCP server, let me know. I would love to know. Thanks for watching.